across the front yard and into the dark.
Tonight on a special Halloween episode of Movie Night Extravaganza. And to round out our Witch Night Extravaganza coverage, we're going to be talking about Zach Cregger's new film, Weapons, starring Josh Brolin, Julia Garner, Alden Ehrenreich, Austin Abrams, Carrie Christopher, Toby Huss, Benedict Wong, and Amy Madigan. Zach Cregger was a founding member of Whitest Kids You Know, the sketch comedy troupe that began touring in the early 2000s, and in 2007 got a Fuse show which lasted 2 seasons and then 3 more seasons on IFC. Gave us classic sketches like It's Illegal to Say.
But what's interesting is that it's very illegal to say, I really, really think someone out there should kill the President of the United States of America. That's illegal, extremely illegal, very, very illegal, but not illegal to say with a mortar launcher. Because that's its own sentence. It's an incomplete sentence, but it may have nothing to do with the sentence before that.
After Whitest Kids You Know ended after 5 seasons, Cregger was booked to star in a couple short-lived sitcoms like Friends with Benefits and Guys with Kids. But he really found his calling writing and directing the 2022 horror film Barbarian. Starring Georgina Campbell, Bill Skarsgård, and Justin Long, which really smartly used the concept of staying in people's houses rented out as Airbnbs to mine horror out of. Cregger was inspired for Barbarian by the book The Gift of Fear, Survival Signals That Protect Us from Violence, which talks about women's intuition and trusting red flags as a survival signal to escape from unsafe and possibly violent situations. He used the idea of a woman going to an Airbnb that had been double booked as a way to map out as many red flags as he could onto a treatment for a screenplay. Cregger talks about his screenwriting process as asking a question and having to work his way methodically through to an answer.
So you brought up questions and answers, and I kind of have a chicken or the egg question for you, because going into this movie, we all want to know what happened to these kids. And
Sure.
It's a great question.
Yeah.
The answer itself, which obviously we're not going to talk about,
Yeah.
is also incredible. So I'd love to know, did you come up with the question and then have to figure out what the answer is?
Yeah,
Yes?
I came up with a question. I had to figure out the answer.
So how does that process work? Because you think to yourself,
Panic.
Oh. Do you start writing without, because I know Stephen
Yeah.
King sometimes says.
Exactly. You're a paleontologist unearthing the dinosaur skeleton one bone at a time, and you don't know what the dinosaur is.
How long of the
That's
process did you
the
figure
best.
out what the answer was?
About midway through, I had an idea.
Was it the same thing with Barbarian?
Yeah. Barbarian, I was like, I have no idea. I didn't know there was a lady under the house until
What?
she appeared under the house.
Come on!
I did not know. I just hand to God.
What is that moment like when you're sitting there, either typing or pen to paper, and that thing hits?
All right, well,
What
with
is that moment
Barbarian,
like?
I thought, well, it's over. I have disqualified everything I've written up to this point. But I loved it so much, I was like, this is the only way this could end, and yet this is never gonna make it, you know? And I was cool with that. I was like, all right, that's the end. It's a 45-minute short film with a weird ending. I love it. It's not a movie. It's not a short. It's just a fun thing I did in my garage.
Holy
then
hell.
I was like, but what if I
Yep.
came back through another window into the same? So that was like it was really fun, but it was also kind of like daunting.
With Barbarian, not even knowing that a woman was going to be living under the house until the idea came to him on the page. Similarly for Weapons, he started out with the idea of all these children disappearing and had to work his way to figuring out why through writing it out. One of the big problems for their pre-production part of Weapons is that they had cast Pedro Pascal, Renate Reinsve, and Brian Tyree Henry, who all had to back out when the Hollywood strikes in 2023 went on for as long as they did, replacing them with Josh Brolin, Julia Garner, and Benedict Wong.
I should have added one. I should have added Prisoners to that list.
Tell me about why you added Prisoners to the list.
The cinematography of Prisoners is so gorgeous. Roger Deakins, and it's like washed out, somber, cloudy, rainy movie, and I really, really wanted to like evoke everything visually that movie evoked. And so my cinematographer and I watched Prisoners and talked about it a lot when we were scouting, and it's very lived in too. That movie feels very authentic, you know, the mess in the people's homes and all that stuff is great. So Prisoners, big one. Magnolia, masterpiece, epic, all these different characters interacting, spiraling around one weird central miracle. I love it. John C. Reilly's mustache, put it in the movie. Alden is wearing it. It's like I kind of fastened Alden after John C. Reilly in that movie, you know.
Zach Cregger was also inspired by Paul Thomas Anderson's Magnolia and Denis Villeneuve's Prisoners, telling the story from the perspective of an ensemble cast as well as Picnic at Hanging Rock and The Shining, movies about missing children and weaponizing kids to invoke horror. There's a ton of references and homages to other films throughout Weapons, including being inspired by David Lynch movies and Coen Brothers movies like Lost Highway and Raising Arizona. The film is divided into sections, each being from a different character's perspective to tell the story, including Justine the teacher, Archer, one of the fathers, Paul the police officer, James a heroin addict, Marcus the principal, and Alex the only student left in class. And of course, all of these stories intersect non-linearly, with each giving more information about what happened both before and after the children disappeared. Some of the stories are about grief and anger, and others are about actually solving what happened. It all intersects in a beautiful tapestry. It takes more than half the movie for the actual villain, Gladys, played by Amy Madigan, to actually be fully revealed, although she appears in dream sequences and quick appearances multiple times, which adds a feeling of real suspense as you try to piece together what happened to all these children.
Oh, no, it's not serious. Nothing terminal. It's just a touch of consumption.
A touch of consumption?
Yeah.
You know what? I'm embarrassed to say, I guess I don't really know what that means. I thought it was something settlers got on the Oregon Trail. What is it, tuberculosis?